So I had a viewer who tells me they're theistic Satanist say that they were frustrated, they feel nothing, they've been devoting for like 11 years, I think they said. And I can't quite gather from their comments, and I didn't want to like pry too much into their personal practice. Um, if they've had like an occult encounter or a spiritual encounter before or not. But I just wanted to address either way for anyone who's dealt with that. First, I want to say there's like a lot of different reasons why, you may not be getting the result you're expecting, whether you've had one before or you're not. I have more of the experience of everything working, everything being fine, and then going through patches where I'm not sure if or going through patches where I'm not getting an answer and I'm like, okay, what's going on? That's my experience. So that's what I can speak to. I don't know what it's like to have nothing happen. Because if I had had nothing happen, I'm really impatient and I wouldn't have done this for, over 15 years now. So, take that into consideration. But this person mentioned being a theistic Satanist, and I feel like most people choose that because we've had an experience. So I'm going to just assume that. Um, but before I move into that, if you have never had an experience and you've been doing this stuff for like 11 years, you've been trying to do it for 11 years, or any length of time, more than a year, if anybody watching this, um, then maybe it's not for you and maybe you need to do something else, or maybe your expectations are based in something. Like there are people with aphantasia, for example, who cannot visualize anything. That doesn't mean they can't have experiences, but their experiences are going to be very different than people who can visualize. And there's so much of, like, you look up a meditation and what does it want you to do? Visualize. So sometimes you have to find accommodations if you simply have a different way of viewing the world that is not going to work with how other people approach things. That is very much what I'm about. That's very much what I did spiritually. Um, because I just felt like a lot of right hand path methods in general are just not working for me. So you have to get creative in those cases, or you can search things like if it is aphantasia, you can search like meditations for aphantasia, and then you can kind of figure out how to create your own. Um, so if you've had this connection to Satan and you feel it is lost in some way, or you feel it's fizzled out, or you feel like you're just not getting a response for whatever reason. There's a lot of different reasons why that could be happening. I don't know everything about your situation. If this video, we'll get to that. Okay, hold on. Because there's a lot of different ways I could answer this for you. One thing to note about me is I'm a chaos magician. I'm a skeptic. I don't believe anything until I experience it, and even then I don't really believe it even if I know it. And I think that's the key difference here. I read you say something, I feel like it's Christianity. If a Satanist feels like their practice is Christianity, something desperately needs to change. I'm just going to say that. How that changes is up to you. If it's a new path, it's a new path. It's up to you. But I feel like, a lot of us can come into this path, not myself, but like a lot of other people do come into this path from Christianity. And that could be a big shift and change, a sign that something needs to be changed, or that Satan has a different expectation of you. From my own experiences, I have had to be on my own before. I've had to, Satan has given me the instruction, he's given me the support, and I have been high off that. Like I love his presence, it is intoxicating to me, and I've been high off that, and then all of a sudden I'm on my own, and it's scary. But it's like I'm not really, for me, I know I'm not really on my own. I'm being put to the test. So I don't know when this started of you not getting a response. I don't know what your situation is, but that's something to consider. Is it something that you have to take care of by yourself right now? you know um what else? I'm looking at some notes I put down here because there's a lot of different ways I can answer your question. um you know Another thing is the connection is a two-way street. I read something about invocation in the comment. Satan is not like other demons. You can't, force him to do anything. Um, this is all a two-way street. I would say that for all spirits, but especially the demonic and especially Satan. Um, Now, I don't know if you're having that experience like broadly, but you just mentioned being a theistic Satanist. So, and having these, twice daily devotionals, which I think a lot of us do, one in the morning and one at night. So I'm assuming this is about Satan. So sometimes Satan will not will not respond, and that's in my experience usually because I have to deal with something. I have to face something on my own. Some questions you might want to ask yourself, because if it's really that stagnant, if it doesn't feel like it's you anymore, one of two options has to happen. You're either going to stop doing it, or you're going to do something else, or you're going to change what you're doing so that it fits into what you need now. You're going to change your Satanism to be what you need now, or you're going to do something else, essentially. I would say, if the practice itself feels like Christianity, I think I know what you meant. I think you just meant that you're not getting a response, and you're sort of acting it out. It doesn't feel genuine anymore. It feels robotic, or it feels like you're talking to yourself. Um, in that case, in that case, you can ask yourself a few questions since we're already talking to ourselves. Do you want to maintain this connection with Satan? Do you need to right now? Um, if you want to maintain that connection, what needs to change to do so? Do you need a break? Have you missed something, such as like an unresolved pact, or a promise you made without realizing you made a promise, or a change that you said you would make that you did not make? Right? Sometimes we're missing something that the due date is up and we don't even realize. So we're getting silenced because it's time for us to deal with it. Sometimes you're looking too hard for an answer. Sometimes also on the flip side of that, you can be demanding an answer from a deity that is really waiting for you to decide what you want to do, because it's actually up to you. It's not really up to them sometimes. Sometimes it is about your free will. I find that Satan really prioritizes you having agency over yourself, at least in my experience. And so if you are leaning on him like a Christian might lean on their God, he does ignore you for a bit. Like, I'm in my experience, like he's done that to me. So, my best advice for you is, since you're already talking to yourself, take some time to check in with yourself. Is this how you pictured your Satanism going? Is this what you want out of it? How can that change? Or if it's time for a break, or to reassess or regroup or figure something out. I've the top things I would say to figure out is, do you want to keep doing this? Because if you want to keep doing this, then you're going to find a way. We don't sit on our asses, okay? We don't sit on our thumbs. We are proactive. And you asked a question, you made the first step. You asked somebody else, what do I do about this? So I'm trying my best to help you get to the next step, whatever that is for you. So if you want this, and then if you want this, what about what's going on right now does not align with what you want? What about what's going on right now does not align with the values that Satan has taught you? If you keep a journal, one thing I did recently was looking back on my old journal entries about my experiences then. Just because sometimes, like, as you change, it can feel awkward in those like transitional periods where something in your practice and your devotion is shifting, and there's a change that needs to be made. But because this is a very self-guided path, there's often not a blueprint for how to do that. So go over your old journal, see if there are any pacts that need to be tied up, or any promises you made that may need revisions, or to be addressed or to be fulfilled. So check that. So even if you do want to leave Satanism, you can do so with a clean slate, so to speak. You don't have any loose ends tied up, because that will bite you in the ass later. So I do suggest just going over that one more time, even if you don't want to do this anymore. And then, um, looking at all of that, what are some patterns you notice? What are some patterns you notice, and how do they align with like these things that kind of hold you back? Like, the fact that Christianity came to your mind at all, um, is alarming, right? It's alarming when you're on this path. It's like, ooh, that's really not working, is it? So noticing those patterns of what's not working, and then what does inspire you, what does call to you right now, how can that be integrated into what you already do, how can you shift over to it if you want to do something new. So that's my best advice to you. If that doesn't work, you can always book a satanic guidance reading with me, in which we can pull some cards on it. But those are some questions I ask myself when I deal with pitfalls, because I'd be lying to y'all if I said like I don't go through periods where I don't believe. The thing that keeps me going is that of my knowledge, not my belief. Belief is a very flimsy thing. Belief is a very human, weak, flimsy thing. I don't put my life in the hands of my belief. I have to put it in the hands of my knowledge. And so there are times when I, don't believe in anything, but I know what I've done. So that can be powerful. It's okay for your beliefs to change throughout time too. I want to state that as well. It's totally fine for beliefs to change, and they do change all the time. Sometimes your belief needs to change so you can shift into a new paradigm and grow. Often this is what Satan wants of me. And so I've learned to lean into it a bit when I feel lonely, when I feel like I'm not being heard in my practice, because I know that's the time when I need to trust myself. And when I do that in full faith, I do get answers, and I do get blessings, and I do have the occult experiences I'm looking for, but I expand what I was looking for, if that makes sense. I check my expectations, and I check, what I've been demanding versus what I've been offering. So that's just my take. I hope that helps. Again, I'll link, if that didn't help and you want some more, insight into it, or you feel like you just need more clarity, you feel like something's clicking in what I said, but you just need more clarity, you're welcome to book a reading with me. If not, if you're just done with it, I totally respect that. This path is not for everyone. I hope you can find the solution that works for you. So thanks for your question. I appreciate it. And thank you for your patience with me answering it, because I just wanted to make sure I did so with a level head, and that I wasn't trying to project what I want you to do, right? It's not my job to convert people. So yeah, I'll talk to y'all next time. I hope this helped anybody that had similar questions or similar concerns.